me. Just a little bit about me. I don't think retired's the best word, but I am a former Democratic County Chair in Franklin. I do have a few slides for you folks just to give you some context about my neck of the woods, and I appreciate your time this evening. Just to share a little bit, I walked into the Franklin County Democratic Committee sort of eyes wide open. We are a conservative rural county in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. And even though Josh Shapiro is looking great this year, we are a little bit outnumbered. I decided to run for county chair 4 years ago because it was a little bit, to use the old Bill Clinton phrase, it was change versus more of the same. We had a Democratic committee that was moribund. It was not doing a whole lot. And it was in a situation where I felt the need to step up. I'm a longtime volunteer. I've been volunteering for a Democratic campaign since 2010 when I was 14 years old, and I got elected to the Democratic committee when I was 18 and got reelected. And I decided that this headline was unacceptable. Chambersburg, Pennsylvania, which is our largest community here in Franklin County, has the horrible distinction of being the only town in America that had protections for LGBTQ citizens and then took them away. That happened, I'm not even joking. It was the first meeting that the new Republican council had in 2022 after they won. And that sort of was a fire for me because Chambersburg is kind of a 45-55 town. There are more Republicans there, but there was no reason that we could not have kept up and fought for protections like that. And those protections are coming back with our new Democratic split council. But just to give you some context of where I live, Franklin County is about a 3-to-1 Republican county. Those are the numbers there, but just to visualize that, we are outnumbered. So if there's any 50 or 60,000 DMV Democrats who want to move out to the country, we'd greatly appreciate that. We would not shoo you away. Just a little bit of the map. I'm in Greencastle, which is marked by the blue star, which I'm just realizing should be a blue star now. In the south part of the county, Chambersburg's in the north. There's 14 townships, 7 boroughs, 6 school districts. We love local government here in Pennsylvania. It's a hobby of ours, we like to say. And one of the things we try to do in a rural Democratic area is we recognize we kind of have to pick and choose our battles. And I think that's where some context is helpful for you folks as well. We aren't under any pretense that Franklin County is going to flip blue anytime in my lifetime, but we are optimistic that what we can do is sort of cut those margins a little bit. And that's what we started to do when I became chair. So in 2025, we actually had about half of our registered Democrats show up and vote in a local election. Which is a lot better than the less than a third that had been showing up to vote about a decade ago, or a little under a decade ago. And we actually did so much progress in 2024. We actually had more people vote for the top Democratic vote getter than there were registered Democrats in Franklin County, which does mean Republicans voted for us, but that's fine. There are some reasonable Republicans out there. And just wanted to show that to you folks, just to give you a little idea of what we're sort of living with out here. And I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing now. So we sort of fight the good fight out here in a rural area like ours. We put forward candidates, we recruit them, we put them forward, we help message, we help to reach out to voters door to door. And the key thing that I noticed has been exceptionally helpful for us is just reaching out to Democrats actually does help a lot. As I showed you on the one previous chart, if we could hypothetically get every Kamala Harris voter out to vote, we would win everywhere in odd year elections. We would do exceptionally well in state legislative races, and we would really help the ticket. And, Governor Shapiro is obviously at the top of our mind this year because he's on the ballot. And that's really what we try to do. We try and, just sort of have a community because unfortunately we aren't a lot of people up here who sort of think like us, who don't sort of really understand and value the same progressive ideals that we have. So we kind of build a community. And I think that's really what's been exceptional up here is just having a group of people you can talk to and not feel like you have to walk around these kind of controversial issues. You can have conversations openly with our neighbors, with our friends, and just not be afraid to be a liberal in an area like ours. So that's really where we help a lot. A lot of it sort of is psychological. We do have a headquarters now, a permanent headquarters in downtown Chambersburg, which is kind of psychological in a way, even though it's a red area. Republicans still have to look at us. So we do try our best to put forward the message, knock on doors, make phone calls, postcard, and we do have some success here. As I mentioned before, when the Republicans took over the Chambersburg Borough Council in 2021, there were 0 Democrats on that council, and there are 5 today. So we were able to tie it 5-5 with a 10-member borough council there. We have a few school board members who've been elected. I was elected to my borough council in Greencastle. So when you do put in the work in areas like this, you do see payoff, because a lot of people, even Republicans, even conservatives, do recognize a lot of the leadership that they've been getting in our area the last 40, 50 years has not done well for them. It has not made the area well. It has not generated broad prosperity, and it hasn't, protected our environment or the wildlife areas that we have up here. And so I don't know how long it takes for people to wake up, but, as Tip O'Neill used to say, all politics is local, and we like to do our bit wherever we are. So thank you so much. I don't know if you folks have any questions for me.
So I do. Data centers and the detention center, which is just over the Maryland line.
Yes.
From you. What's the opinion? What's going on about those things?
So unfortunately, we don't have really good contact with the Washington County Democrats. I'm not entirely sure why. We have tried to reach out to them, but they haven't really been receptive. But I do know, and I was texting a few folks before this meeting. So the opposition efforts are in full swing on both of those fronts, at least on the ICE facility. That does look like it is impending. So it does look like the county commissioners in Washington are going to back down on it. Don't take that as gospel, but it does look like they are afraid of the public pushback, and it does look like they do recognize that ICE has obviously been doing blatantly illegal things. So I do think that they will probably back down on that. They do have to actually answer to their voters at the end of the day. And if you looked at the primary results from Washington County, I think the Washington County Democrats had their best showing, I want to say, ever. I only went back a few years, but at least within the past decade and a half, like, they did phenomenal. And if you keep that momentum up, you can kick out at least 3 of the commissioners, and that's 3-2, and that's your majority there. So at least in Franklin County, we do unfortunately have a 267G program where our sheriff's office does cooperate with ICE. As far as we are aware, there are no arrests, and Franklin County Jail cannot be used as a detention facility. So we're kind of in a weird gray loophole there, gray area.
Is there any activity about data centers coming into your area?
Yeah. So in Franklin County specifically, our county commissioners, which is 2 Republicans, 1 Democrat, they did pass an ordinance recently. It's called a SALDO, a subdivision and land development ordinance, which does functionally ban data centers. Now, in Pennsylvania zoning law, you can't just say no data centers in the law, but you can set forward such stringent stipulations on what can go on the land that it functionally bans those. So that SALDO has been in place since, I want to say, May. They passed that. And that was a very kind of rare bipartisan effort. The Republicans don't like it here. Democrats definitely don't like it. And that was very inspiring to see, which is good, because 2 of the Republican commissioners were so deeply invested in data centers. They loved the idea. They thought it was great. This is going to bring jobs. This will be a flush for the county. And as soon as people showed up to the meetings to say, we hate this, they backed down. So that was great. And our Democratic commissioner, Bob Zabrowski, who's a good friend and mentor of mine, was always against it. So that was pleasing to see.
Well, this sounds sort of like good news. I don't know how to react.
It is possible when you actually have people stand up and say, we would like things to be X, Y, and Z. Like, there is some growth there. Now, not to tamper down your enthusiasm, hypothetically, because of the way the SALDO was written, there could potentially be a data center, but it's so small that because of the area we're in, it doesn't make any economic sense for Amazon to say, well, we're going to put one here. So.
Does anybody have some questions for Cameron? Other than mine? Are you using ground truth? Do you see any ground truth campaigns starting in your area? And is there any data coming back from that?
Sure. Yeah, locally we have two House races that we're looking forward to. One it's called PA 89, the other one's PA 81. One is Chambersburg centered, and the other one is a very strange gerrymander, which goes from State College almost all the way down to the Mason-Dixon line. So it's a very, very weird looking district. Yeah, I know. It's very, I don't know who designed that, but it's very strange. We are more optimistic about the Chambersburg one. The registration there is 58% Republican to 42% Democratic. And, you know, the candidate there is named Shannon Jackson. He is a phenomenal workhorse. He ran for the borough council last year, and unfortunately, due to some health issues, he wasn't able to get a seat on that. But I think if he hadn't had those issues, I'm confident he would have won. I'm very confident he would have won. And I think this year he does have a good shot. We have a 22-year incumbent who the Republican county chair up here has unfortunately recently said some unfair, I'm sorry, not unfair, some factual things about that are unkind. And you have those sort of divisions where you have entrenched incumbents who, quite frankly, don't do anything for their constituents for 2 decades. People listen to that. People get mad at that, and people are willing to try something different, especially when you see a year like this where Republican turnout is going to drop because they're either just uninformed or embarrassed of what's going on at the national level, where you have Democrats who are fired up and ready to go, Barack Obama style, and where we have a great popular incumbent in Josh Shapiro at the top of the ticket. So it looks good. It might be one of those unexpected flips that we might see. So. And he's doing a lot of stuff on the ground. He has a phenomenal vote by mail campaign that I think is going to probably max out a lot of votes. A lot of Kamala Harris voters who are a lot of presidential voters in general who just don't love me.
Question for Mark.
Hi, Cameron. Thanks for coming out tonight.
Hey, it's a pleasure, Mark.
So just a simple question. Are you aware of any typical ground truth conversations that have occurred in your district? Like, what are some of the things that folks are saying at the doorway when volunteers approach with the ground truth script?
Sure. Not so much on canvassing yet. We are a little early on canvassing. We do tend to start that fire up about September. Traditionally in Pennsylvania, I guess most of the country, election days or election season starts in Labor Day. But I will tell you this, we have had so many people, Republicans, who have walked into our headquarters and have asked to change their registration. It's been at least 15 from what we've been, informally counting. We've had people say they're embarrassed. They can't believe they voted for that idiot. I'll let you fill in the blank of who that idiot is. Not John Fetterman this time, although it's the other one. It is. I can't believe I voted for that idiot. But anyway, just so many people who are just sort of wising up to what's going on. And this is just happening organically. I think once we hit the doors, we'll hear a lot more of conversations like that, especially with our local races where people don't like incumbents who sit around and do nothing for 20 years. It's just like they don't like, illegal, Gestapo tactic police who are in their neighborhoods. So.
Okay, we're hitting a time commitment constraint here. They're going to turn out the lights on us. Jim, can you ask a quick question?
Yeah, I just wanted to know if Cameron was aware of, or I'll just let him know so he's aware of Austin has introduced us to some swing left organizers that are meeting to discuss working with county parties. So I don't know if you're affiliated with any of those leaders. Maybe Austin would know. Also, Vote Save America and Contest Every Race apparently are very interested in county parties, and they were on a panel with Anderson Clayton, the North Carolina chair, Dems chair, at Netroots Nation. It was a great panel on county parties. So I'm hoping to get some feedback or follow up from the people who are on that panel. So anyway, maybe we can connect you with other folks that are trying to help out county parties.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jim.
Thank you so much, Jim. Appreciate it.